Hey everyone, I'm just washing up some potatoes so that we can make gnocchi today. Welcome to DittDott. My name is Amanda. I'm really excited to make this gnocchi recipe. I've never cooked homemade gnocchi before, so I'm really excited to dive in and learn the ins and outs of making a new dish. Oftentimes on my channel, I make fast, healthy dinners for busy moms to get dinner on the table quick. But oftentimes I like to learn along with y'all and try a new recipe that is new to me, and so we can learn together. And that's what we're gonna do today. So I found Giada De Laurentiis gnocchi recipe on Pinterest, and it is labeled as a beginner recipe, so that gives me hope, right? It actually says to microwave the potato, so we're gonna do that. It says to go ahead and take a fork and stab it many times. And if you don't do this step, your potato can explode in the microwave. So we definitely don't want that to happen. So I have made like a pre-packaged gnocchi one time a long time ago, and I did not care for it. I could taste the preservatives in it, but I love potatoes. Potatoes are like my favorite food ever. So I don't know why I have never tried like gnocchi at a restaurant or anything like that. I think I just always go for one of the other dishes. But I'm really excited because, I mean, seriously, potato is where it's at. So I've stabbed this like probably more than I need to. I'm gonna pop them in the microwave for about 12 minutes and rotate them every once in a while, and then we'll be back. So it's been 12 minutes. I just pulled these out of the microwave. They are super hot. Let's see if they are cooked all the way through. So I'm just scoring it. And yeah, my knife goes right in. I have these too in case I need them. I want to go ahead and peel off. So I've got a big bowl. Hold on, I'm gonna pull my flour out of the way because I don't need it yet. Got a big bowl that I'm gonna actually use to mix my dough in. Whew, hot. So a couple weeks ago, I took on a challenge to make tamales for the first time. And for some reason, that dish is something that I've always thought was really hard. And it ended up being, I mean, it was a time-consuming dish, but it really wasn't that hard. And oh my gosh, they were so good. And I can't wait to make tamales again. If you haven't watched that video, please make sure to watch it because it was really fun. But gnocchi, for some reason, is just one that's never really been on my radar. But I'm excited. I'm really excited to try this. Okay, so that skin, as you saw, just peeled right off. Now, let me grab a towel. Got potato on my fingers. Okay, so this is called a potato ricer, and it's still a little bit damp because I just washed it because it's been up in my pantry on the top shelf and rarely gets used. But if you make mashed potatoes often, this is a very handy tool. It makes silky smooth mashed potatoes without, like, I don't know about your mom or grandma, but mine used to use a mixer to do the potatoes, and sometimes that can over mix the potatoes and make it kind of gummy. Not gummy, but I'm trying to think of the word. So a potato ricer will give you a smooth consistency without overworking the potato, and yet I still often just use the mixer. But if you don't have this, you can use the mixer, probably try it out, or your good old-fashioned potato masher, and just make sure you mash your potato up really, really well. But I do have one of these, and I will link it in the description box below for anybody who wants to look at buying one. I don't think they're very expensive, and like I said, they're very good, and they're called a potato ricer. Woo, look at all that steam. And the potato, hold on, let me move my camera here. I'm telling you, sometimes being a one-woman cooking show is not super easy. Okay, I can't do this with one hand, but you see how in the bowl it comes out in really thin little funny strips. Here we go, now you can see. And then just kind of cut off that, and then we'll add in the next potato. Okay, so let me peel this one. Hopefully it peels just as nicely as the first one. And so I was trying to think, like, what is my favorite potato dish? I mean, probably I'd say tater tots. But I love potatoes in baked potatoes. Oh my gosh, I don't want to sound like Forrest Gump, but seriously, I could go on. I was looking up the history of gnocchi. Gnocchi has been around since like the 15th century, and it didn't originally actually start with potato. Potato wasn't introduced until much later, and there was semolina gnocchi and even some corn types of gnocchi. It just got its name from its shape, which gnocchi means gnarled wood or knuckles, depending on which translation that you're getting it from. And so it came from the shape, but nowadays gnocchi is known for being mostly a potato dough. And of course, it looks like this part of my potato is a little brown, so I'm gonna take that part off. There was a bad spot in my potato, and we don't want that in my dish. Yeah, the shape of the gnocchi with those little indentions, I guess kind of looks like your knuckle, and that's kind of where it came from. Let's get this riced up. I'm gonna make a sage butter sauce, which is a pretty standard typical sauce that gnocchi is used with. I don't have a recipe for that. I'm just kind of gonna wing it because I'm actually using a recipe, guys. I'm using a recipe for this, but for the sauce, I'm just gonna do my own thing because that's how Amanda rolls. Super hot. Okay, get this in and get this all cleared away, and we'll get to making our dough. Ooh. Big tip, don't put your potato skins down the disposal. Most garbage disposals can't handle potato skins. Okay, I got my trusty pepper and salt. Of course, I'm not really actually measuring it. It did say, I think it said a half a teaspoon of salt and a quarter teaspoon of pepper for those who want some exact measurements. Oh, I used to have a pepper mill and it broke. And when it broke, I just switched over to this, and although freshly ground pepper is so much better, I just haven't replaced my mill. Okay, who else leaves just some random measuring cup in their flour? This one happens to be a 1/3 cup, so I'm going to put in 3 of them because I'm not about being precise. I mean, how can you be precise? Your potatoes weren't precise. I mean, you just can't. Like, you get a large potato and a large egg. So yeah, you can get 1 exact cup of flour, but is that really gonna do you good if your potatoes need a little bit extra flour that day? Now here's the part I'm a little worried about because my potatoes are really hot. I don't wanna scramble my egg, but there's no liquid that was Watson running across the den there. There's no liquid to temper my eggs with. So let's see how this goes. Anyway, we're gonna whisk this up. So here's the part where I'm like, how's this gonna work? Because it didn't tell me I had to cool down my potato dough. There's no other liquid and there's no other fat other than the yolk. So let's see how this comes together. Well, I guess the potato itself is slightly wet. So I guess that gives the enough moisture. So here's what it's looking like right now. And it needs to come together into one ball. Smells good. Okay, now we're gonna get our hands in there. It's definitely sticky. So I think this is good. Don't wanna overmix it. Okay, I'm gonna shove everything out of the way. Come on, get out of my way, people. All right, oh yeah, this is a really nice texture. It's a little crumbly, but all right, let's gonna bring it together. And it said to kind of knead it just a couple of times and then divide it into 4 sections. So I'm making this up ahead of time. It's way too early for dinner right now, but I'm just gonna go ahead and make up my gnocchi and let them kind of rest on the counter before I'm ready to make them. And then I'll cook them up and make the sauce in a little bit. Where'd my knife go? Oh, I put it in the sink, so I'm gonna have to get another knife out real quick. So I don't have a gnocchi board. There's these little wooden boards that have grooves on them, and you roll your gnocchi down them, and that's how they get the grooves. But if you don't have one of those, you can just use a fork. So I've got my little potato log, and it's about 1 inch thick. So I'm gonna just go ahead and cut them off into little inch size dumplings. Kind of like halfway between a noodle and halfway between a dumpling, isn't it? And then I'm just gonna use the back of my fork to roll and get the little grooves. And the little grooves are what help the sauce cling. So I'm just gonna do that with all of these piles of dough and make, you can't even see them, they're all off camera. But I've got all these little piles of dough. I'm just gonna keep making these. So the entire idea of this video got started because a couple weeks ago I found this sage plant at the store and I wanted to buy it, and then now I'm like, okay, I need a recipe to cook with some sage, but I don't want to like take all the leaves, so I'm just going to take a couple and have some fresh sage for this recipe. So now it's been a while and I'm getting ready to actually cook dinner, so I started a pot of water to get it boiling. I gathered up all my gnocchi so I can put it in the pot, and as you can see, I gathered up some other ingredients. So traditionally, gnocchi is actually served as an appetizer or like a first course dish. Not necessarily an appetizer, but like more like a first course dish. But I'm a mom, and I mean, who does first courses when you're not having a special occasion? So I'm turning this into a main dish, and that's why I grabbed some ham and I have some asparagus, because we're gonna make this a one pot thing, because that's how I roll. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off by putting a chunk of butter in my saute pan. And my saute pan is cold right now because I'm gonna take, yeah, they caught. I'm gonna take this garlic that I just chopped, and then I ran my knife over to kind of crush it up even more. And I want it to just kind of slowly cook in the butter. I don't want it to burn. So as you saw, I gathered up some sage leaves from outside. You can use dried sage in this recipe, perfectly fine. But since I do have some fresh leaves, sage is so soft. I love the velvety feeling of these leaves. I have no idea. I don't cook with sage that often, and especially fresh sage. The only time I've ever used that is at Thanksgiving. I'm not sure if this is like overkill or not, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got about 10 leaves here, so we'll see. We'll see what it does. So I'm watching my garlic because I do have my skillet on high right now, just because I want that butter to melt fast, but I don't want it to actually burn. So I'm gonna go ahead, and now that it's starting to melt, I'm gonna lower it, and I just want the garlic to kind of infuse into the butter. And we're gonna be adding a lot more butter because this is a butter sauce. So I just wanted to kind of get that started. All right, so I've gathered up my sage and I'm got it lined up, and I'm just going to give it a very fast cut through. I want to say chiffonade, but that might not be the right word. And then I'm gonna, right here at the end where I've got the stems, I'm just gonna throw the stems away. So now I just have, oh man, this smells so good. A bunch of sage leaves. Smells like fall. I'm gonna set those aside because I don't want to cook them yet. And I'm gonna go ahead and put in another huge chunk of butter. Can't be shy when it's called the sage butter sauce. We gotta actually be authentic and put in a healthy amount of butter, because that is the sauce. Now I'm gonna cut up some asparagus. Oh, no, I'm gonna do the ham next. When you buy these packages of cubed ham, sometimes they have a lot of liquid in the bottom of them, but this one doesn't seem to have too much. But I don't want to add any of that ham liquid. So I will just kind of pull this out. Yep, there was some liquid in there and I don't want to add that. Ham juices, ew. Now the ham's gonna cool the temperature of my skillet down, so I'm gonna go ahead and raise it up. That'll kind of protect that garlic a bit because the ham is cool. And now that there's other things in the skillet, it won't burn. Now, Ham has a lot of salt added, so I want to keep that in mind when I salt because I don't want to oversalt my dish. And I'm going to cut up some asparagus. I've got butter on my knife still here, so I'm going to carefully put that in there. So I'm just going to do small bite-sized pieces. Green peas would probably be good in this too. I also consider doing mushrooms. You know, oftentimes gnocchi is just like a sauce. There is a pretty famous sausage gnocchi recipe, but a lot of times it doesn't have all these other added ingredients. But I'm a big fan of one pot cooking. So get my protein, my starch or carb, get my vegetable, put it all in one dish, and away we go. So I'm going to go ahead and add, asparagus, add that, and then I'm going to go ahead and put the sage in too. Oh guys, it smells so good. Okay, my water is boiling, so let's lower this down because I'm going to be ignoring it for a minute. And I'm going to be adding some more butter here in a minute because right now it's not really saucy. Okay, let's get on to doing the gnocchi. I've got this. This is what I'm going to try to scoop in and out with. It said that it should only take a minute or two for the gnocchi to cook through. So I'm going to do this in batches and we'll see. And they should float to the top. Yep, they kind of sunk down to the bottom, so that's good. I think I can just carefully put them in here, okay. And then as they float to the top, that means that they should be done and I can fish them out. I do want to make sure that they're not sticking to the bottom of the pan. Nope, they're not. So let me drop a couple more in here and then I will show you with my camera. I'm being careful because I don't want this boiling water to splash up on me. So this is me doing this for the first time. I'm on the adventure with y'all. I've had some people comment below that they've tried out some of the dishes that I've done and it was their first time cooking certain things. So I think that's really awesome. And I like to cook for the first time with y'all too. Okay, so as you can see right now, they are all on the bottom of my boiling pot. And they haven't started to float up yet. All right, I'm going to turn the camera around and angle it down for y'all. Okay, hopefully you can see into the pot and we can see when they start to rise. Oh, there's one. Oh, over here in the corner that you can't see, obviously. I can't really get my camera any better here. There we go. I was joking with a friend the other day. I'm like, well, you know what? If the Food Network chefs had to do their own camera work while they were cooking, you know, it'd be hard for them too. So I appreciate everyone sticking around. Okay, they're starting to float, but I'm gonna give them a little bit of time. Oh, this was also supposed to be very salted water, which I didn't do that step, so they're gonna be a little bland. I always forget to salt my pasta water. Oh, look at them, they're so fluffy. All right, so I got a bowl here and I'm draining them really well and I'm gonna add them to the bowl as they float up to the top. This is fun. It feels like I'm going fishing. I mean, basically we're just cooking the flour through because the potato, you know, we cooked in the microwave and 12 minutes, that sucker was cooked. I'm gonna go ahead and get these done. My asparagus over there is just kind of simmering away. And so I'm just kind of got it on low, not really paying that much attention to it right now. We'll come back to it and finish it up in just a second. All right, here they all are, and I'm really excited. There was only one that sort of fell apart. Most of them stayed together, so that's encouraging. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and add in another pat of butter. So we're up to about half a stick of butter here. And then I'm gonna raise up the heat and then I'm going to season. So I'm gonna add, like I said, a little bit of salt, some pepper. And a lot of times when people cook with sage, they pair it with nutmeg. Now, I'm always telling y'all to smell your seasonings, and if they don't smell, then they're probably too old. This one is really weak. I know this nutmeg is very old. I don't use it that often, but I'm gonna go ahead. It's just not gonna add as much flavor as it could if it was fresh, but I'm just gonna add a little bit. I need to get some of the real nutmeg and use it with my rasp because that stays fresh a lot longer. But this was in the back of my cabinet, so since I had it, I'm gonna go ahead and use it. And then we're just gonna get this butter melted. And then I remembered I had just a little bit of cream left over from another dish. And so I'm like, hey, you know, let's kick this up. So if you don't wanna add cream, you could also leave it like this. This would be perfectly delicious to sauce up this gnocchi. Or if you want to add a little bit more thick of a sauce, you could make a slurry with chicken stock and water.
Chicken stock and flour. I'm not sure why I said water.
And add that into this, and then it'll kind of thicken it up and make it a little bit like a thicker cream sauce without using cream. But I'm just gonna use like a couple tablespoons here. That's all I have really left in this container anyway. And get this, and then I'm gonna taste this sauce. Remembering that my gnocchi doesn't have any salt. Well, I mean, the gnocchi itself had some salt when I was cooking it, but I forgot to salt my water. So let's give this a taste. Oh my gosh, that's so good. Okay, it's plenty salty though. Okay. Oh my gosh, that's so good. Now I'm making a decision. I'm trying to decide if I want to add my gnocchi to this to stir it, or if I want to add this to that bowl. They're very gentle. I mean, they're delicate. So I don't want them to fall apart. But my skillet is also not super big, so I'm just going to kind of carefully toss them so I can get some sauce. And then when I put them back in the bowl, hopefully that'll help coat the sauce on them too. And then we'll give this a taste. I'm so excited. Get the sauce evenly distributed. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. I'm so excited. I have not tasted it yet, so I'm gonna taste one of these and I will give you my honest opinion. They're probably really hot. Okay, that's good. What it reminds me of, and mind you, I've never had gnocchi in a restaurant or prepared for me. Like I said, I made a pre-packaged gnocchi one time. They came in like this vacuum sealed thing, and you just were supposed to add them to the boiling water, and they straight up tasted like preservatives to me. They were disgusting. They were hard and chewy, and I just haven't been interested in trying these since then. These actually taste like almost like mashed potatoes in a really good way. Okay, I'm gonna try one more. That one didn't have very much of the sage sauce. I'm gonna get one that I maybe sauced up a little bit more. Yeah, it's like eating a mashed potato ball with the sage sauce on there. I don't know, it's so warm and comforting. Okay, I can see why this is a lot of people's comfort food because that is really, really good. Hold on. Okay, I don't want to add this back to the family. I'm eating out of the serving bowl. This is enough for me and my whole family. I'm not sitting down and eating this entire bowl of gnocchi. Okay, I'll be making this again. I am so glad y'all came on this adventure with me and making a new dish that at least I've never made. Comment down below if this is like a family favorite of yours, or if you've never tried it, let me know that too. And if you want to check out one of my other videos where I'm cooking something for the very first time, definitely check out my tamale video. That was an all day, super exhausting, fun video to shoot. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, hit the like, and please leave me a comment because like I said, I really enjoy talking with y'all down in the comments. I will see y'all on the next video. Bye. Hey guys, I'm back. It's the next day. This is what I had for leftovers, and anybody who follows me on Instagram knows I love leftovers. Oftentimes I will elevate and change. Sometimes when the dish was just so good as is, I just reheat it and go. But I wanted to give a little bit more, there's Watson. He's like, who are you talking to, Mama? I wanted to give a couple more notes on this because, like I said, this was my first time making this dish, and I don't really think I've ever had it professionally made at a restaurant. I do think gnocchi is usually a little bit more firm. My whole family and I decided these were very soft, but I actually really liked that texture. My family, no, yes, Watson, I'm talking to the friends on YouTube. You can see his head down there. My girls said that these gnocchi reminded them of dumplings, like in a dumpling soup. So, and we all agreed that the sauce was very delicious, but it's very subtle. Next time I would use more sage, but I didn't mind it being subtle. It's still very good. Anyway, I just wanted to pop on in, have a little bit extra there. And okay, I will give you some lunch too. Hold on, Watson. His food bowl's right here. Until the next video, bye.